Welcome back to Project 94 for another Diecast review on the channel. And today, we're going to be taking a look at Alex Bowman's 2022 Ally Do It Right Darlington Throwback for Hendrick Motorsports. This car here is a throwback, and of course, we're going to start looking at cars from the Hendrick 5-packs now. This one came out of the Throwback pack and is a throwback to Mark Martin's 1993 Darlington car that he won with, and of course, it could just be for that paint scheme overall in general. Now, me being the Mark Martin fan, the Mark Martin fanatic that I am, you knew I had to have a video on this car and an opinion about it. And I gotta say, folks, this is a pretty cool Darlington throwback on its own. Looking at it as a Mark Martin fan, this thing checks off all the boxes. It's got the dark blue, the red, and then the bright blue stripes on it. So what could have possibly went wrong with this throwback? Let's take a look. You got number 48 right there, Hendrick Motorsports. You have the front end of the Chevy Camaro. Nice thing about the 5-pack is you actually see how the front of the cars look, so you can actually see more angles of your diecast before you buy them. So, nice little thing for 4-packs right there. And you got ZL1 Ally with the hood vents, and this is the first weird choice. So Ally absolutely had to sponsor every single race, meaning that this car could not have the Valvoline logo. So what did they do? They took their Ally logo and made a Valvoline tribute looking logo. No font change. Straight up the same Ally A you see in the modern era, just with the colors of Valvoline, which is kind of an odd choice. I mean, Ally should have at least let Valvoline sponsor this one race. So yeah, kind of odd timing for this throwback. So we're going to look at the other side. You got Sunoco, Goodyear, the white Goodyears on the rolling Goodyear tires. They're white for Darlington. The blue Goodyear, NASCAR International, NASCAR Salutes, number 48, Alex Bowman, Ally, Acronis, Exalta, Cincinnati, Freightliner, Mack Tools, and Siemens. The Ally, the race winner sticker. Do It Right. Did they do this throwback right? We're about to find out in a little while. Got Valvoline right there, and of course, the little Rick Hendrick tribute picture. The dark gray, black rim style on here. And of course, you have HendrickCars.com on the rear quarter panel. And you got the Chevrolet, Ally Do It Right, Valvoline, and there it is, the Valvoline logo with the correct font and everything, or close to the correct font. It's kind of a different one that's going to be on the actual car, which I'm going to show you guys later. And number 48, Camaro ZL1, Ally Do It Right, Alex Bowman, and the number 48 on the top with no roof sponsor. So now we're going to go over the paint scheme. So they spray painted this car white, so that's the first spray coat. And on the front of it, you got the black splitter. Out back, you have a black spoiler. Of course, you got the biofuel logo, of course. And starting out with the front, you're going to have a thick, dark royal blue stripe wrapping around the front. Then you got a red stripe, a little bit thinner, and they're evenly spaced, all three of the stripes. You got the dark blue spaced evenly for the red, which is spaced evenly for the lighter blue. And it's going to go across the side, across the wheel wells, the lower half. And of course, you got the side of the underbody all painted black, so they did not wrap it down all of the way. So of course, we're going to look at the first stripe. The light blue stripe is going to go spike across underneath the 48, and then just shoot its way on up to the roof, towards the B-pillar, or the name rail, I should say, going all the way onto the roof. And another red stripe just coming into the side. Of course, you got the red, and it is the thickest stripe, so it's going to wrap pretty wide behind the Ally right there, and it's going to wrap itself all the way onto the roof. And of course, you're going to have the rest of it being the dark blue, which is going to carry on across the side and just wrap around the back portion of the car up to the rear quarter windows all the way around. Of course, the bottom edge of the roof with the black roof rails. And the back is just all that royal dark Valvoline blue right there. And that is going to be it for that scheme, of course. And now for the numbers, which is the point of contention for me on this car, which I'm going to explain to you why. Let's take a look at the roof. Perfect. That dark blue with the white outline. And then you go to the side, And that is where I'm going to start comparing. So let's start off with what's actually on the diecast. You got a bold white outline, and of course a dark blue number 48 right there. And of course on the front it's under the headlight. And on the back it's going to be under the same taillight that it's usually underneath, with the same white 48 color that was on the roof of the car. So let's take a look at where they kind of went wrong with this one. Let's bust out the 1993 car that they are saying this is a throwback to, which it is. However, there's a couple of key differences between Bowman's car, which is going to be on the right side of the screen, and of course the Thunderbird, which is on the left side of the screen. Ignore the race wind detail, it's just the clean version of the scheme that is the throwback of. So to start off with, you're doing it on a Chevy team. So, but that's not really a big deal to me, as long as the paint scheme is sort of close, which they kind of got. So kind of interesting to think that Hendrick actually let Alex Bowman do a tribute to a Ford car for a driver that used to be in a Ford. Although Mark Martin was at Hendrick, so you do have that connection there. But, of course, you got the black splitter kind of getting in the way of the immersion of the throwback. But if you just paint that splitter the same dark blue color, you got it close enough. Looks pretty good from there, right? And, of course, here's the most interesting part of the scheme. The hood. Now, I do understand Ally has to sponsor all the races. But how much would it have been for one race to allow Valvoline to sponsor so we can get a much closer throwback than this? I mean, it's not bad. I do applaud Ally for trying something. But man, how much would it have been if Valvoline actually sponsored? But as for the A and Ally, it's the same standard shape, but of course on the right hand of the hood, the right hand side of the hood, it's going to be that light blue. The left hand's going to be the red, and of course the lower half of the little letter is going to be the dark blue, which is just like the original. So color-wise, that logo is accurate. Sponsor-wise, it would be inaccurate, because Ally chose to sponsor every single race, including the throwback. Now, here's a couple more differences. Take a look at the Goodyear logo on the side. You got here a blue Goodyear, when on the original, it really had a outline to it, black or dark blue. I can't really tell if you get closer to that. You're gonna tell it's got a bit of a dark blue color, right? Pretty dark. But on the Hendrick car up here, it's an all dark blue Goodyear logo. So that is kind of inaccurate. And here is the point where it kind of goes off the rail for me, alright? And I gotta point this out because I'm a Mark Martin fan. I gotta show this. They got the top perfect. Look at how perfect, color-wise. They don't need to do the font. Just look at the color. Fantastically accurate. And then, look at the side here. Why could they not have used the 48 that was up here for the sides? Because if you did that, you would have gotten it much more accurate to the one that actually ran. And yes, the number placement is different. But you still could have done the accurate color 48. What was Hendrick and Ally thinking with this? Hell, they probably had reference photos and probably showed this car with the white number with the dark blue outline. The thin dark blue outline. How could they screw that up? They put the wrong number color. And that was the first thing I noticed. Like, when they first revealed this throwback, it's like, oh, yes, we're going to get a Mark Martin throwback car at Hendrick's. And then, one of the first red flags for me was the door number. Why could they not have gotten the accurate door number? I mean, it's not terrible looking, but if you're going to call this an accurate throwback, might as well get the colors of the number right. You got everything else right. As I pan around here, everything else seems to be really, really good and really accurate, paint scheme-wise. But then, of course, you have the sponsor, and then the side door numbers. Oh, they were so close to getting this accurate. So close to having such a beautiful throwback to a beautiful scheme. You were so close to getting a super accurate diecast, or a car, I should say, to the Mark Martin 1993. You were just so close, but you had to do the blue door numbers. Where in the world Whenever has the number 6 Valvoline had a blue door number for its primary car with this type of scheme? Never, as far as I've looked, and I am a Mark Martin fan, I do not recall. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I have never, ever, ever seen a blue number with a white outline on the red on the door. That has never happened with this scheme. So how in the world could they have gotten the wrong number when they had the reference photo next to them? Anyways, got that little bit of a rant there out of the way. That's as far as I'm going to go for a rant. We got to keep this kid friendly, but oh, so close. Man, this could have been a perfect throwback. You could have had the Valvoline here. You could have had the right door number, and this would have been probably the best throwback of the year. But of course, Hendrick Motorsports had to go and mess around with this car, which is sad because if you look around the entire scheme, it is pretty much accurate. I mean, you got a black spoiler where it's supposed to be. Yeah, you do have the black splitter in the front, which is not in the original. It was a valence. But man, they were so close. I mean, just take a look at that. It was so perfect. Just ignore the door number. Look at everything else. The door number and the sponsor. Just everything else was so perfectly done right on this car. Until you look at the color choices of some of the aspects of the car. Very, very disappointing there. They really could have made this a perfectly accurate throwback if they wanted it. But, of course, some of the choices that they made were a bit off. Other than that, the colors were perfect. This is an 100% perfectly accurate car, besides the sponsor and the door numbers. Oh, man. I mean, the diecast doesn't bother me. It does look nice, obviously. But for being an accurate Mark Martin throwback, this thing loses a few points for the sponsor and the door number. And the Goodyear color. Oh, well. I guess it's too much to ask for a perfectly photo-accurate version of the original, color-wise. But other than that, the diecast looks pretty good. It's going to look good in your collection. Some people might actually use this as the primary, because just look at the color scheme. I'm going to give you guys a couple of close-ups during the 360 view. Take a look at this. I mean, it is quite a beautiful car. They just had to do a couple different things with the color choices. Other than that, you have a perfect car right here. And of course, that is the 360 view, and here's the underbody. So I did a little bit of ranting about some of the inaccuracies that Ally chose to do with this car. But other than that, I still like it. I'll probably grade this throwback maybe like a 7 out of 10. Just because they could have gotten the right sponsor and the right door number. But, you know, it's still a nice car. I still like it. It's not my favorite Mark Martin throwback that's been done in the Cup Series. Just go back to the Trevor Bayne cars. Those were top tier. I'm so mad they canceled the 2015 throwback of the Mark Martin 1998, which is my favorite scheme of his of all time. And of course, they cancel that one and make the lesser favorite of the two that I had for Mark Martin. But it was still cool either way. Still nice to see these Mark Martin red, white, and blue schemes come into form in the modern era of NASCAR. So, Ally, do it right. I'd say they did it right for a majority of the car, except the two things that I pointed out. But that's going to be the end of the diecast review. It's still a cool car. You should still go out and get it. And, of course, happy birthday, NASCAR Philip Torres 46 V2. This is his birthday today. So I figured I'd get this one reviewed. Maybe a little birthday present, an Alex Bowman review. Thank you all for checking this one out. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next diecast review. Man, why have the videos gotten longer? What have I done to make these videos longer? I understand this one being long because I did a comparison and all that, but thank you all for checking this one out. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next diecast review. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals on your diecasts.